The Chiropractic Philanthropist, episode 264.
Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
Hey chiropractors, tired of doing weekend-long health screenings at health fairs? Is spending weeks preparing for talks or workshops getting in the way of quality time with your family and friends? Then why aren't you tapping into social media for new patients? 1, you don't have the time to learn, and 2, you don't want to waste the money trying to see what will work for you. Wouldn't it be great if there was a done-for-you social media marketing service that you could try risk-free to see if it would work for you? Wouldn't it be great if that service could bring you anywhere from 10 to 45 new patients per month into your practice? Guess what? I have a solution for you. 3S Chiropractic Systems is a company run by chiropractors with years of web and social media marketing experience, and they're offering you a complete, affordable, done-for-you package. This system is swooping across the globe and is geographically exclusive. So find out right now if your area is available. They offer a full money-back guarantee for the first month, so there's no risk. Apply at 3schiropracticsystems.com/TCP to make sure you don't miss out. Hey, I'm excited. This is going to be a great conversation. I've just kind of been getting to know you a little bit better over the last few weeks, and learning what you're doing is just incredible and how you're helping chiropractors get more freedom. But for those of the listeners who don't know who you are, Dr. Steve, can you explain, just tell us a little bit about you personally, and then tell us a little bit about you as the Big Idea mentor, but also as a chiropractor today.
Well, I'll try to keep my story short because it's over a few years period. But how I basically got to where I'm at today is when I first started practicing, the excitement was there. I loved it, but then after that first year or so, it was a grind, and I was just grinding this out. And all my mentors and coaches were saying, just keep working harder, keep working harder. So that's exactly what I did. I'd go into the office, I'd see patients, and at lunchtime, I would either be doing a screening or doing some type of marketing event. If I'm lucky, I got to go to the gym, then back at my office, and I'm not getting home until 7, 8 o'clock at night. And so this went on for about 6 years. My marriage is starting to deteriorate, and my practice, I feel like I'm attached to it. And like if I'm not there 24 hours a day, thinking about 24 hours a day, it was just going to break away from me, and it was going to completely sink. So, this went on for until about the birth of my daughter. When my daughter was born, I got a phone call at my house at the office at about 6:15, and then so I bolted out of the office, went home. We delivered our first child, Reagan, in our house. It was an amazing experience. I was able not only to be part of the process, but I was there to catch her, and it was an amazing experience. So the next day, I took a half day off, and I'm in the office Tuesday evening. The only reason why I took the morning off is because, again, it was a Tuesday. As chiropractors know, we take Tuesday mornings usually off to catch up on whatever stuff we need to do. So here I am, not even 12 hours after the birth of my child, I'm back in the office because I believe that my office is dependent upon me to survive. So this goes on for about another 6 months, and I started getting these welts all over my body. And it eventually engulfed about 95% of my body. It looked like I had, severe sunburn that was just destroying. I couldn't move. It was completely just itching all the time. Couldn't sleep. I couldn't even adjust. I couldn't see patients anymore. My whole life at this point changed because what I have been doing for the last 6 years is I never went on a vacation. My practice owned me. Now I was doing fairly well. I thought I was, but I knew I could do better. So I was collecting, in areas like, maybe 30, 35,000 a month. So I was doing okay, but for as hard as I was working, I was definitely not being rewarded with the effort I was putting in. So I got super sick, couldn't practice anymore. So at this point, I had to figure out what to do. I still needed to take care of my family. So I look at what do I know, that I'm really good at. And I'm like, well, I feel like I'm a really good chiropractor. I feel like I can run a good business. So at this point, I went from being the treating doctor, and I had to retool everything that I was doing as far as running my practice. So now I became a true, what I would say, an entrepreneur at this time. This is when I said, okay, things need to change. I need to be able to run my business and not my business run me. I had to get out of this crazy insanity cycle that said working harder is going to get me to my goals. It was insane. The insanity was just, I had to look back at myself now. I'm like, what the fuck were you thinking, man? And so I fired all my staff. My staff were these anchors, man. They were just low energy whiners, sucking the life out of me. And so I retooled my staff, retooled everything. But with the same amount of people, just people who were on purpose with my mission, what we were able to do, and what I was able to do with my mentor, is to restructure my office for it to run for me. And now my office was not dependent upon me. Matter of fact, we're here. My office is running right now, and we're doing a podcast. So it's getting that freedom to allow your office to run without you being there and having to push that rock uphill. So we went from a practice that was doing, 30, 35,000 a month, and now we have a 7-figure practice, and I'm maybe in there maybe 20% of the time, as far as adjusting, because I can now adjust again. But I went through that period of time where I couldn't even see patients, so I needed to hire good doctors to run my clinic. And so what I did was I figured out a system that worked, that allows chiropractors to get the freedom that they deserve, to have the practice that they always dreamed of, with the financial freedom that we all started, this profession. We want to help people. I get it. Serving our community is probably no more noble cause than serving our community. But if we are doing this where we can't serve our family, we can't take vacations, we're burying ourselves, man, I can't sit there and say that's serving your community. That's insanity. So I opened up a few other practices with the same model, had success with that, and I decided, hey, man, I'm going to take this to the masses. So that kind of, in a quick nutshell, brought me to where I'm at now. I started a podcast, the Big Idea Mentor podcast, where we're, again, teaching the philosophy of chiropractic and getting people re-engaged with the love of the adjustment, because everything starts with the adjustment. If we don't believe in our product, which is the adjustment, and we don't have complete faith in it, we're running an uphill battle. We won't win that one.
I love where this conversation's going already. That talking about the grind. How many chiropractors probably listening to this today are feeling the grind? The constant, never-ending grind of maybe even just the new patient grind. But I love this also, where really what we're talking about too is like that owner versus operator. Like you've figured out how to make that shift, that transition from the being the operator in your business to being the actual owner. And one of the things we love to talk about here is also quotes and affirmations, or just words of meaning for you, Dr. Steve. Could you drop some words of meaning for all the listeners, please?
Don't take yourself so fucking serious, man. I think, man, when I even with managing my practice, earlier on in my career, I took myself way too serious, and I had basically had a pole stuck on my ass, and it affected my team, and it affected their morale, and just being, just chilling out, and having your systems in place and chilling out has been one of the biggest differences that I got to say that have made in my life. Just being able to not just live in that grind state. It sucks.
I remember how I sweated over just the first day I ever wore like a nice pair of jeans in the practice. It was like I just...
I'm going to wear jeans so no one's going to come in and see me anymore. I don't care.
People don't care what you wear. I think, no, people didn't care. The only person who had the mindset or the headspace that people would care was myself. And actually the more self-aware I became, I don't like that word authentic anymore, but the more self-aware I became, the more my practice actually grew, and actually people stuck around a lot more too, because I think they liked me, which is important. I think you should like your doctor, your chiropractor. So I want to also just touch on the portion that a lot of chiropractors really connect with Dr. Steve, and that is actually, I'm going to call you Steve from now on, not Dr. Steve.
I appreciate it.
I feel weird calling you Dr. Steve.
Makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm looking at my dad or something.
I know, it's weird. Okay, so I want to take you into the ditch, into the pit. When was a time that was like, I know you've already kind of shared some of the struggle, but I want you to take us there again. And a time that you fell flat on your face, and what you learned from that experience, and then how you apply that to your business and life today.
Yeah, I remember the exact time and place. It was I was coming back from the office, and I was adjusting patients, so I adjusted probably a handful of patients, and my body was just in pain, like my skin, I couldn't move. So I'm in my car, I'm driving home, and I pass my church, and then I'm at a train. Train comes by, so it's one of those moments where God's like, it's time for you to reflect. And so I just start thinking about just where I was at and what I was continuing to doing. I was like, man, I can't live like this anymore. Something needs to change. And I broke down and, went home, talked to my wife for a little bit about it. And then, I woke up the next morning, and that's when I just knew everything needed to change. And, went through a complete, detox program. I was doing everything to get my health back. I was working half days, as little as possible, trying to get my head reset. Coffee enemas. You guys get the game. I was doing everything to get, right. Just trying to just clean myself out and de-stress to get my health back. And so I got to say, right now I'm back to having that, pretty clear skin again, and feeling like a human being instead of, someone looking at me like I just got walked out of a tanning booth all sunburned. And so that was probably it. It was at that moment when I was just coming home, and I was just everything it just all compiled right there. And like I knew I was burying myself. And if I continued to do this, one or two things would happen. Number one, I wouldn't be practicing anymore. I wouldn't even be here anymore. I'm in a physical being anymore. That was it.
I got to tell you too. I mean, like I just got off a call with a doc, and I think that what you experienced, if anyone knows my story, if not, go back to episode 000 of TCP. I hear this over and over and over again of chiropractors who, I think one of the things that we all have in common is in that commonality is we all have a purpose. We all want to really help people, but it shouldn't be at the consequence of our own health. And I see this over and over again, and I hear this over and over again. So I really appreciate like people like yourself who are really helping chiropractors break free and unchain themselves of their practice, of being the operator versus the owner. And maybe that'll be our title for the episode. So, thank you for sharing that. And I want to take this into the transition of what you're doing now. Like, tell us a little bit about the podcast. Tell us also about how you're helping chiropractors break free. And I know you have an incredible offer for docs today too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, as far as, helping doctors break free, what we're doing is we're putting a system in place that allows a doctor, because you brought in, congruency, or being able to be yourself or authentic in your practice. That is so huge. Most of us will get a system that we put in place, and we believe that we have to follow the system. Don't wear jeans. You got to be able the best dressed person in your practice. All these parameters. And let's be honest, we are a cut from a different cloth. If you become a chiropractor, you're not like 95% or 98% of the population. You are a special breed. So what you need to realize is that to deliver the adjustment, deliver what you ultimately know is the healing, the adjustment, that you also got to be congruent with who yourself. So if you want to wear jeans, man, wear jeans. Find a practice and develop a practice that is congruent with you. So that's what I'm really helping doctors do, is to develop a communication structure that works for them. We have, as far as chiropractors, when I work with a chiropractor, this one of the toughest things that I see is, man, we oversell our product to death. We oversell it. We're trying to explain everything to them that we've learned in the last 10 years in this 20-minute visit, where that 20-minute visit really is all about them. We should be hearing everything that they need to talk about at that time instead of telling them all about chiropractic. So being able to do that transition to allow a patient to not necessarily believe you and believe in chiropractic, but just give them an understanding and a knowledge of what it is, and then let the system take care of itself. Let you and your staff work them up the ladder to understand exactly what it is that you do. And so this way, what they're able to do is when you give them your recommendation, now they're going to take your recommendation because they trust you, and you weren't just feeding them a line of bullshit. Another thing is closing. How to close a patient. We oversell under close. Matter of fact, you should be closing from that day one. When you interact with that patient for the first time, you should be closing them. And I don't mean trying to sell them a used car. What I'm trying to do is being authentic with yourself. They're like, yes, this guy, Dr. Ed's a badass. I want to be with him because I know he can help me. He's already started the selling process. So from that day one interaction, you're selling your patient on why they need to be a patient in your clinic. So I think the two big aspects right there is overselling, underclosing. What was your other question? I'm sorry, I got ranting in there for a second.
No, I'm sorry. I was making notes. This is so good. So I wrote down like 80% of selling is listening. It's so true. Like we do oversell when really, sometimes one of the hardest things is just to listen, to shut up. And I hear this from chiropractors all the time too. And with the conversation of selling, I love touching on this, is that, well, hey, we don't sell chiropractic. I'm not selling anything. This isn't, something we sell. And I would suggest that, and maybe you agree, Steve, is that we're always selling. My 6-year-old was selling me this morning, like on something. Like he was trying to sell me on having cookies for breakfast. Like we always are in selling and marketing mode. And I think that more chiropractors need to realize that and just be in that mode. What do you think? Is that correct statement?
I do it, but what I think what you're saying is when you say selling, this is somebody who is trying to. My perception is this: someone who's selling is trying to overeducate, overcomplicate. Someone who's closing is someone who is strategic. Someone who knows exactly, like you said, I'm listening right now. I know what my system is. I am closing this patient in the confidence in who I am and what I can do for them to help transform their life. So that's where the close comes in. So I think we get mixed up. I kind of agree. We don't have to sell chiropractic as much as we do. I agree with that. We need to close more.
Yeah.
Because what closing shows is confidence in who you are and what you're doing. You want to find someone who's uncomfortable in their skin, no pun intended, uncomfortable in their skin and not confident in themselves, they're going to continue to try to sell. And here's a curve, and here's this, and and keep talking about the problem instead of giving the patient a solution.
Yeah. Do you like to? Would you say you're a closer?
I'll always be closing.
You're always closing. Would you say, like, do you like to be closed? So, like, do you? Yes, me too.
I hate the insult too. I like closers. Cut the bullshit. Just get right to it. Sit across from your patient. Here's a gem for you guys. I look at my patient right in the face and I'm saying, hey, here we know what's going on. I know I can help you with it. I know I can get you well. You want to get well. Let's go ahead and get this taken care of. Let's do this. Boom, done. Yeah. You look at them with passion and
certainty,
conviction when you do it. They're like, all right, what do I need to do? Here it is. Here's my recommendations.
Yeah. Closers like to be closed, and I would suggest patients the same thing. So yeah, just give it like it is, man. I love it. So I want to take us in actually make sure that we give that valuable offer too. So first of all, everyone who's listening right now, if you actually go into the show notes, you can actually head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. We'll have a link. Links to all of the resources, the podcast for the Big Idea Mentor as well today, but also for your special offer. Like you have an offer that you're going to drop on Docs. I'll ask you for that in a sec. You can also actually expand open your show notes and the links will be there too, so you can get them right from your mobile. But Steve, can you tell everyone about that offer?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is from my podcast, what the podcast is about is it goes over the green books. And we bring doctors on and we discuss a green book reading chapter. So we have a professionally read chapter out of the bigness of the fellow within. And so what we're doing with just the green book reading, the professional reading, is we're offering the reading portion even without the commentation. If you want the commentation to go along with it, go ahead and listen to the podcast. But if you just want the green book reading, I'm going to be giving that a link to Dr. Ed here to give out to you guys where you can go and get I think right now we're doing up to 12-week readings from the Green Book. So I'm going to give that to you guys as a gift from me.
Awesome. Sorry, my dogs are barking, so I got to make sure I turn off my mic. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm also going to make sure, again, that all of those links are going to be inside of the page that we have dedicated with Steve today. And
can I give another gift?
Yeah, let's do it.
So let me do this. I'm going to give out my front desk training, how to run a front desk of a 7-figure practice. And I'm also going to show you how we do our day one examination. So this
Nice.
is exactly how we do both of those. I'm going to give those to you guys free too, if that's okay with you, Ed.
Oh man, that's perfect. Because I mean, this is again, I'm all about, well, philanthropists. I mean, we're all about giving back, right? So this is the philosophy. So anytime that we can help doctors be more successful and confident in practice, absolutely. All right. So are you ready? What we're gonna do is put you into the TCP time machine. We're gonna send you back to a younger version of yourself. This is right after you came out of chiropractic college and you have all the knowledge and experience that you have today. So you meet that younger self. What would you say to that younger self?
You're ready. You are ready. Go do it.
Awesome.
It's really that simple. I think because what happens is we have this we come out of school and heck I train with doctors right now that have been on school for 10 years and their confidence level is embarrassing. And I mean that with all the love and respect because I've been there. But our confidence level and what we could really do is embarrassing. And so the capability, the knowledge that you have is far surpasses what you currently maybe think you can do. So believe in yourself right now. Go out and just make it happen. Find somebody to plug into find somebody who's already done it. Because that's a cool thing about this, guys, is that you don't have to have everything figured out today. Just get the confidence and say, yeah, I'm going to do that. Picture yourself, like just you said, the time machine. Picture yourself. I'm at right now, I'm just come out of school. I'm going to picture myself. Where do I want to be 10 years, 15 years from now? What do I want to have? What do I want to be? Who do I want to be married to? I'm going to picture that person 10, 15 years down the road. And that's the person I'm going to be today. You might not have that fruit today, but if you act as if you do, boom, done. You got it.
I gotta tell you, and I'm sure you agree, Steve, is that that mentorship aspect has always been vital, like vital to expansion, whether it be in my life or business. I mean, I've never been able to do it alone. That's one of the big lessons I've learned. So thank you for that. And I'm gonna just wrap up with one final question for you, and it's really an easy one. It's just an invaluable resource. So I mean, you've already dropped a bunch of resources, but I want you to drop like something that you really enjoy, like a book, a podcast that you're listening to, maybe an application that you find invaluable, anything you think docs would actually get value from.
Well, it's just funny you're saying that because before when you're saying that, this is what I'm doing right now.
So the .com secret.
The .com secret. And this is Russell Brunson. This guy is. The more I get to learn about this guy, he's an ex-wrestler like me, so I had to fall in love with him right away. He's part of the brotherhood, and so to expand your practice and just get you, man, to be able to utilize an online presence right now in your business is so valuable. I'm gonna repeat that, is so valuable because I don't know if anybody's like me. I fucking hated sitting outside of Walmart selling people like I'm some prostitute in the corner, chiropractic and why they need to be at my office. That sucks. Now I get it. Sometimes when we first get out of practice, we need to do some shitty stuff. But that is not for me, man. Especially I've been practicing for 10 years. I was like, man, I need to deliver. I know what the perfect patient. I have my perfect avatar. I know what they look like. I know exactly who they are. So I now market to my perfect avatar through my clinic. And that's why we're able to help drive the marketing campaign without us having to be out and doing things that we hate doing. That, if you're marketing in ways that don't make you feel empowered, switch that up. And so this is what this book has been able to do for us. An application, ClickFunnels, rock and roll, man. That thing is awesome. I do, man. That thing, I love that. Man, it is a learning curve for me. I'm not a computer guy, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I remember the conversation you and I had it's come maybe a week or so ago about ClickFunnels, and you were like, "Man, this thing's like freaking hard to learn." I'm like, "No. You don't know what it was like 2 years ago trying to learn. We had to do use HTML and stuff. Like, I mean, it was hard. And this is easy. So yeah, I agree. Anyone can learn this. But anyone can also hire someone to do it for them too. So.
And so, Russell, I want to make sure that you give me a plug on your whatever you're doing. But
sure.
I just want to let you guys know this book right here, he gives away free.
Yeah.
You doesn't have to pay like shipping costs.
That is true. Yeah.
It's gold.
Yeah. He gives it away, just shipping costs, and that's probably detailed in the book as why he does that. But he has so many different valuable strategies, and just really, we talk about they're in the clouds, and he's in the clouds on terms when it comes to strategy and marketing, one of the people to follow. So I want to thank you so much. A great tip, great strategies today, an incredible episode. Love the value. Anyone listening, again, chiropractors, head over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com. Again, we'll have that webpage dedicated to our discussion with Dr. Steve Burlison, the Big Idea Mentor today, and all those clickable resources there. And then Doc, I truly enjoyed the conversation. I feel inspired. I love when I have someone come on that's just on fire about chiropractic and what they're doing. So thank you for giving back today.
Hey, Ed, thanks for having me on the show, man. You're a rock star, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. We love you.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to the chiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Chiropractic Philanthropist.